4 lessons on socializing and how to make friends based on the Game of Thrones hit series. There's not going to be a single spoiler in this video, so you don't have to worry if you haven't seen the latest episodes or seasons, or even if you've never watched it. The only thing I'll be spoiling is I'll be touching on some of the themes, which if you've even heard of Game of Thrones, you already know that there's violence and there's sex and all that good stuff. So what I want to talk about are 4 things that Game of Thrones does really well, and I'm talking about the overarching series here. I'm not going to be touching on any of the latest controversy of these losers who are complaining about whatever. You can't make everyone happy, and this leads straight into the number one thing that Game of Thrones does very well, which people who are great socializers, people of influence who have the choice of friends that they want, they do this as well, and it's being unapologetic about what it is. That's what Game of Thrones does so well. They have topics, incest and rape and violence and murder, and I mean, it is very offensive, one might say, for all the themes that it covers in great detail. And it doesn't apologize for this. It is very unapologetic for being that way, and people love it for that. Let me relate that to you as a person. If we can become ourselves unapologetically and really be ourselves and not hide it or dance around our character, our personality, our truth, people gravitate towards that. People are attracted to that person and to that show. So the negative response is going to be there, more so than if you were to do a really neutral sitcom that aims to please everybody, like, I don't know, 2.5 Men, Big Bang Theory, or Friends, any of those hit shows that are aimed to please everyone. They're also unapologetic, but they're a little bit less so. I mean, they are dancing around the guidelines. HBO doesn't have to do that. They're not on a regular cable show, so they can do whatever they want, and that's one of the major things. So I suggest digging deep and looking at what are you not being truthful about in your own life, and trying to be less apologetic about those things. On to the next. Another thing Game of Thrones does very well throughout its series is it remains unpredictable. There's some predictability. We, as humans, this is an old Tony Robbins thing, we need some certainty and we also need some uncertainty. So, some of our characters remain kind of true to themselves to one degree or another throughout the series, and that gives us a sense of predictability, and we like that because we can rely on the characters. What keeps us hooked and what gets us excited is the fact that we don't really know what's happening, what's going to come next. There's always some unpredictable twist around the corner that we don't see coming. And the way that you can incorporate this into your social life, look at the way you socialize as a habit now. You probably have patterns, ways that you tend to go about greeting your coworkers, your classmates, your significant other, your friends, your family, the people at the front desk of the gym or the supermarket, whatever. You have a routine way of going about things, and just look at that. Look at it in your mind. Think about it right now. And you'll see, you'll probably be able to just sense, oh yeah, I know what I do. I know my pattern. So you could just literally just by doing something a little bit differently the next time you greet someone could be something that's going to change your predictability. We like that because we like the Game of Thrones is unpredictable because it keeps us on our toes and we're waiting. We don't know what's going to happen next, and we're excited to see that next thing. So if you're not predictable, if you're to some degree changing the way that you interact by, honestly, the best way to do it is to make it fun for yourself, then you'll notice people want to be around you more. People are more hanging on to see what you say and more wanting to hang out with you and stuff like that. All right, number 3. Another thing that Game of Thrones does incredibly well is it is very emotionally engaging in the sense that it inspires a variety of emotions, like a roller coaster that it takes us through, from anger to fear, sadness, excitement, vulnerability, victory. There's so many emotions in the human experience, and Game of Thrones, unlike some of these typical dumbed down network sitcoms, for example, who focus on a couple of repetitive themes, Game of Thrones really goes deep into some vulnerabilities, into the real fear, into death, into rape, into some dark stuff, some real emotions, it covers the complexity of the human experience to some degree very well. And it's false to imagine, like we watch in these network sitcoms, that our lives look like that. They don't. So in a way, it's a little bit more genuine, Game of Thrones, because although it is a fantasy show, I have to excuse the bells behind me. The bells. That's a little inside joke for those of you who get it. But it's disingenuous to believe that our lives look like network sitcoms. Even though Game of Thrones is a fantasy drama with a huge budget and it's showing non-realistic, magical type scenarios, in a way it's more emotionally real because it's talking about some real core issues that maybe not all of us are comfortable to talk about and that certainly are on TV very often. So, what can you do to mimic that? I'll tell you right now. You can express yourself more. Does that sound fun? That's the trick. The truth is, you can become as engaging as a Game of Thrones relative to you as a person, not exactly the same engaging, but relative to who you are as a person, you can become more like a Game of Thrones type engagement human. Bad English, Alex. Anyway, simply by being more expressive. Not just talking about your wins, not just bragging all the time about your victories, but talking about your fears, your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, the things that you're struggling with. Also sharing the victory, sharing the wins, and everything in between. Expressing your true self, the range of emotions that go on within you. It's going to inspire an engagement and relatability from those around you that most others won't get, because they're simply acting in their little pattern and they're not really talking about the real shit that's going on with them. Okay? That's number 3. Let's move on to the last one before the sun goes down. These were just off the top of the head. I'm sure I could come up with many more if you liked this type of thing. Let me know in the comments. Number 4 is Game of Thrones takes a tremendous sense of pride in the way that it looks and in the way that it presents itself. It's a visually stunning masterpiece, this series, in many, many different ways across a decade now. I mean, they have continued to get more visually impressive, and at any one point in the story, people might disagree with that decision, but no one can deny that it has gotten more and more amazing in the way that it's been presented to us visually. So my suggestion to you, if you think about that, the reason why we like that is because we care how stuff looks. We care. Humans care about how stuff looks. We're visual, most of us, with eyes. You know, we take stuff in visually, and so they've put in hundreds of millions or more dollars into presenting it well. You don't have to put hundreds of millions of dollars into how you look, but you should be mindful of how you look and how you present yourself. You should be mindful. You should be trying to optimize not just your outer appearance and, you know, the shallow elements like what you wear, your general fashion, your hygiene, your grooming. Yes, those are important. Those are like the outermost layer. But then you have your fitness as well. And that's still outer layer, but it's a little bit more important because it actually affects who you are as well. So the way you present yourself, again, these are just suggestions, so do whatever you're going to do. But yeah, you're going to succeed more in your social life if you take pride in how you present yourself from the inside out. And that's the way you express yourself. That's the way you look at people. It's the way you look at yourself. Really, that's where it really starts. But then it emanates out to the behaviors and also in your body, how physically, what your level of fitness is and how you present. Do you make yourself as nice to look at as you can, or are you just a slob? Because if you're a slob, you're not going to be the Game of Thrones of social skills. You're going to be like The Room by Tommy Wiseau or whatever. You're going to be a lesser version, all right? To recap, the 4 lessons from that Game of Thrones can teach you about socializing, social skills, and how to make friends. Number 1, be unapologetic about who you are. You're going to piss off some people, but the people who like you are going to then love you. Now, you're going to inspire much more loyalty and respect when you're unapologetically yourself, even if you then also alienate some people who were never going to be great friends anyway. Number 2, don't be boring and predictable. Try to add some element of creativity and novelty to the way that you interact with people. It's fun. It'll make people want to be around you, and you'll enjoy socializing more as well. Number 3, be emotionally engaging by sharing and expressing the true arc of your life, not just the wins, not just the neutral things that you talk about, but everything. Try to open up and express more of the totality of the emotions you experience, and you will inspire others around you through your courage to be able to do that. You'll allow them, give them permission to also open up through going first and leading by example. And the last one, again, take pride in the way that you look and in the way that you present yourself. Obviously, you could just ignore that, and that would be your choice, but people will judge you differently. So that's it. Those are the 4 off the top of the head lessons. It's getting a little bit dark here, as I can see. Thanks for sticking with me. About another hour or so until the episode, the last series finale. So whether you're watching this before or after, or haven't started the season or the series, or whatever the case is, I hope you enjoyed and got something out of this. If you did enjoy it, please leave me a like. Let me know in the comments below. Have you started Game of Thrones? If you have, where are you at? What are your thoughts? Too many questions? Make it specific, Alex. Whatever. Leave me something in the comments. For now, that's all I've got. Appreciate you, and speak soon. Adios.